Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch channel. So the purpose of this video is to talk about a it's not really a new theory, but it's kind of new to me, and I wanted to explore it and just talk about it. So as you know, my channel is mostly about like philosophy and worldviews, and lately it's been just trying to take into account all the information available so I can plug it into my worldview so that my worldview can be honest. And in reality, let's face it, folks, if you have to discount data and evidence, if you have to take facts and evidence and push it aside so you can maintain your worldview, you're not being honest with yourself. The first problem is all these cognitive biases that we have to deal with. People sync up with other people that believe similar stuff to them, so that's who people associate with. And then, of course, if you separate for yourself from that group, you find out quickly that they don't comment in your videos anymore, they don't talk to you anymore. They seem to disappear off the face of the earth because they still believe what they believe, and you're trying to show them that, hey, there's really good evidence for you not to believe what you think is going on. So when it comes to understanding reality, that is a very suspicious thing. Why are humans wired to be able to bullshit themselves and everybody else around them? And I remember as I'm doing all this research, and I've done so much research, that I had a thought in my head, pop up into my head years ago, that light, that euphoria, that all-encompassing unconditional love that people experience when they're out of body and they've started to transcend into a higher dimension, that they encounter. And then I just, for some reason, at one point thought, I thought of the mosquitoes and bugs that fly around the light in my porch light outside. And I thought about when I watched bugs fly into like a bug zapper. Now, there are certain things that are clear, honest. I mean, in reality, there are certain things that I've come to understand is legit. And you may not be ready to accept these things. And there's no amount of evidence. I could spend hours on here showing you stuff. There's other videos I've done to show people stuff. And like, for example, I try to take on all these end timers. I was one of these people at one time. So I understand how you can get sucked into this stuff. But I tried to show through so many links and sources that, all these people, all these end timers, their Book of Revelation interpretations, it was bullshit. Now, let's face it, folks. There's a legitimate industry out there, the end time business, and they have books, documentaries, and movies, and they have YouTube videos, and there is no business in the world besides that business that is 100%. For 2,000 years, that Book of Revelation interpretation business has had a 100% failure record. And yet, it's always popular. It's always just around the corner. We got that mark of the beast. Doesn't matter that it was 616 in the earliest fragment of the book. It's 666 now, and that's it. It doesn't matter. All the other stuff that I can show you about the problems with the historicity of the Bible and how it was put together and the source of it doesn't matter. None of this stuff matters. So, but that's beside the point. I just want to make a point that it started to become suspicious to me just how divided people are because of cognitive biases. Problems like the backfire effect, belief perseverance, and then I started to wonder, why on earth do we have such issues? Why on earth do we have so many issues with this stuff? It's almost as if our brains are not only designed to reduce our consciousness, but designed to interfere with it. I mean, let's face it, you're born with amnesia. There's extremely good evidence for reincarnation. It definitely happens in some people. If you believe some of the work of some of these regression therapists, it happens to all of us. We encounter stuff in out-of-body states that do not fit any world religion. People want to tell you what the answers are to all this stuff, and you can easily prove every religion is wrong. Every atheism is wrong, materialism is wrong, all this shit is wrong. And you can show people evidence, but they will not separate from their worldview. Evidence doesn't do it. They have to be an internal process. I mean, you have to want to change your belief. No one can do it for you, right? So in doing all this research, I started to wonder about this whole prison planet thing. Now, I'm not one of these people that are going to give you the answers. I don't like this stuff where you can't really trace back where some of these people get their conclusions from about the archons or the lords or karma or some of the other shit people talk about. Again, it's just another bullshit thing. But yeah, if you're going to have an honest worldview, it needs to fit all the facts and data. And some of the facts and data about our reality, about humanity, it doesn't, it's almost like we're in a prison planet feeding something and we keep getting recycled. Our lives may have been shortened, right? I mean, you don't have just the Bible saying people used to live a long time ago. You got the Sumerian texts. You got all kinds of ancient data out there that seems to imply people used to at least believe we used to live like 1,000 years. And now we live max 120, and it always seems to max out at like 100, 120 years. So now you have short lives, people getting recycled, people having amnesia. What does it all mean? And then that light, that euphoric light, then you have maybe 15-20% of people that have a hellish experience. You have people that have all this data that you can study about near-death experience, veridical experiences. The atheists will deny it. They won't accept it. They just march along with their materialism. I really would hate to be an atheist in the afterlife, because you are going to be more susceptible to being bullshitted when you are out of your body and you realize you're still alive. You are going to be the easiest to fuck over if this is some kind of trap. And then the religious people also just have to make you see what you want to see. And then you get talked into being recycled all over again. It really seems to be like a recurring theme. The alien UFO stuff has spiritual stuff to it. If you look at the work of Dr. Carla Turner, she died in 1996 of cancer, but she did fantastic work into research into UFO abduction cases. J. Allen Hynek used to say toward the end of his life that he doesn't believe it was like aliens from another planet. It's more like a spiritual thing. The aliens lie. Sometimes the beings that you encounter in the afterlife say things that don't fit. None of this stuff fits any world religion. And the religions all tell you what to believe, and then the atheists tell you what not to believe, and then nobody looks at all the data and evidence and tries to pull it all together. But it does seem like it's a possibility that this is some kind of trap. That we, like for example, Bruce Grayson, other scientists that study consciousness honestly, they will tell you that the brain seems to act like a reducing valve. It reduces the consciousness down. It limits us to our human potential. And then it isn't until you are released out of your body that you start to feel like what you actually are, which is this really powerful spiritual being that has perfect vision and telepathy and so many other things, and you start to feel what you are, and then right away you get encounters from your dead family, your dead pets, spiritual beings, guides come out. Maybe you see the light, breath of God, whatever. Sometimes Jesus shows up. Sometimes Jesus shows up in UFO experiences. And you have some UFO researchers that separated from MUFON. They were Christians, and they claimed that their case after case of UFO alien abduction being stopped by calling the name of Jesus and repelling them like demons. In other cases, though, see, when I was discounting evidence, I had to discount all the evidence of UFO cases I found where people did that and it didn't repel the aliens. So then what do you do with that? According to the Bible, that's not supposed to happen. And then you have cases where if somebody would cry out to Jesus and the supposedly he would appear in a UFO abduction encounter, or somebody that identified as him. And then you got to wonder, as an honest Christian, honestly, would God allow himself to be impersonated? Okay, and if it's not Jesus showing up there, then what is it? And if it's not Jesus showing up in some of the near-death cases, then what is it? And Jesus doesn't always show up in near-death experiences. Sometimes it's other religious beings or beings from different religious beliefs. So you have all this stuff going on. And then I start to wonder, well, if the consciousness is really that powerful when it's out of the body, and then once it's released from the body and now it's free, and but the brain acts like a reducing valve, or the human body and brain act like a reducing valve, where is all that extra energy from our consciousness going? Is it feeding something? Just a thought. I don't have anything, I'm not saying that I'm right about it or anything, but it is a thought. I don't buy into the conclusions of all these archons and all this other stuff. I don't know about that, but it is something I'm looking into, and I just wanted to make a short video about it, talk about it. And I'll talk to you guys later. Please subscribe and like and comment if you think that the prison planet theory, there's something to it. And